Hello friendos and bendos, it's me Z, and this is a more rambly, off-the-cuff, unscripted video because I'm going through a lot of stuff in my life right now. Nothing serious, but, I don't have much time yet to make a full-on scripted video. Hopefully I will soon. I'm hoping to get at least another video or two out before the end of the month. But before that, I wanted to just get a video out there, to remind you I'm alive, plus, get myself back in the YouTube algorithm, I guess. So I'm going to talk about a topic that's been kind of nagging at me, and it's Nubia. The Wonder Woman character Nubia is very interesting to me because while I like her, I think there's something missing, and what's missing to me is context. Alright, what do I mean by this? Okay, so let's start with who is Nubia. So the first version of Nubia appears pre-Crisis, right? She appears in the Silver Age, right after the mod era, and she is introduced as Diana's twin sister. Hippolyta secretly actually made two babies out of clay, but one of them was stolen by Ares, and so she hid this information from Diana so that she wouldn't, be sad that she lost her twin sister. And so then Nubia came back, and she was under the control of Ares, and she fought Wonder Woman, but then Wonder Woman freed her, and then she became, the newest Amazon, and was really cool, and I like it. But unfortunately, Nubia also didn't appear after this arc. Like, she was introduced, we learned her backstory, she's Wonder Woman's sister, she's under the control of Ares, she's freed, she's back, and then nothing else with her. Nothing else with Nubia after that. She appears in, I think, an issue of Supergirl, and that's it. It's really sad because that idea of Wonder Woman's twin sister is really cool. So then Nubia pops up again with a new backstory, this time post-Crisis. This time she's a regular Amazon, but what sets her apart is that she is the defender of Doom's doorway from the inside. If you don't know Wonder Woman lore, Doom's doorway is the gateway to Tartarus, the underworld. It's located under Themyscira. As a kind of a deal to stay on Themyscira, the Amazons have to defend the Doom's doorway from leaking, all the monsters into the world. And so Nubia was the defender of Doom's doorway, but from the inside. There's a defender on the outside, but there's also a defender on the inside, and that was Nubia. She's like essentially the Wonder Woman of hell, kind of like Absolute Wonder Woman before Absolute Wonder Woman. And this is, again, such a super cool concept, but they kind of don't do anything with it after her introduction, and then I believe like one more arc. Like, she appears in the April special, and then she appears in a two-parter in the main book, and that's it. And again, it really sucks because this was also a really cool idea that they could have expanded upon. So fast forward again, we get a third version of Nubia post-Rebirth, and this is the current Nubia, and they kind of combine the two origins, pre-Crisis and post-Crisis. So she's back to being, so she's still a regular Amazon, but she's reincarnated at the same time that Diana is born. If you don't know, Amazons are reincarnated through this thing called the Well of Souls. They are reincarnations of women who are murdered by men in men's world. And so Nubia is reborn at the same time as Diana, so that's their connection. But she's still the defender of Doom's doorway, and I think that's a really interesting concept, because it keeps kind of the best of both worlds. Because while I like her as Diana's twin sister, Diana doesn't necessarily need a twin sister, but her being her spiritual twin sister, that still keeps it, that still keeps the same vibe, But the problem lies with the fact that Nubia is introduced post-Rebirth, with us presumably already knowing her personality and her backstory, when we really don't. We only know the bare minimum, which is that she's a reborn Amazon that was born at the same time as Diana. That's it, right? And what sucks about this is that she's been getting this really big push, but I feel like we just still don't know enough about her, right? Like, literally everything between her reincarnation and her reintroduction in Rebirth, we don't know anything about it, okay? We don't know zip, we don't know nada, okay? We know the bare minimum, which is that she's the defender of Doom's doorway. I think we've seen her, in a flashback fight like one monster, and as well as meet a human woman. Like she went to man's world for like a quick sec, and she met a human woman who was then reincarnated as an Amazon later. And that's it. Like, that's all we know about Nubia between her reincarnation and her current day self. And to put that into perspective, we know more about Nubia before she was reincarnated than we do know about Nubia after she was reincarnated, which is crazy to me. Like, we had a whole miniseries about Nubia, and part of that miniseries was flashbacks to before her reincarnation, which is insane, right? Like, I feel like we'd have to know about what Nubia's like before we have what she was like before, which is just, I don't know, it just bugs me, right? Because she's introduced post-rebirth as betraying Hippolyta, and we're supposed to be like, whoa, Nubia's betraying Hippolyta? But like, we don't know enough about this version of Nubia for that to matter to us. And then she becomes the queen of the Amazons after Diana dies, and we're supposed to be like, whoa, she's becoming the queen of the Amazons? That's so cool. But like, we don't know enough about this Nubia for us to be justified in knowing that she's the new queen of the Amazons, right? And then she's put in multiverses of all things. Like, it's really crazy to me, right? Like, this character who has such a like small history is put in multiverses over not just so many DC characters, but so many Wonder Woman characters. It's just insane. And it just, I feel like we're on the cusp of greatness, because I think Nubia as a concept, again, is super cool. The Defender of Doom's doorway, her design is super cool. She has this spear that lengthens, that's also super cool. And I think her journey to becoming queen after defending the Defender of Doom's doorway is also super interesting. But the problem is that we don't have the context. I would love a miniseries that's dedicated to what Nubia's life on Themyscira was before she became queen, because we really don't know anything about that, alright, and that sucks. I would love a series maybe about how she became the Defender of Doom's doorway, or maybe on what her life was like as a Defender. Either of those would be super cool. And I feel like it sucks because if Wonder Woman as a franchise had more books, like if DC invested in having more books, like even like Sensation Comics, you know what I mean, maybe would have already gotten it. But as it stands now, I just have to like beg for a miniseries, because Nubia is on the cusp of greatness, but we just don't have enough, you know? Like, imagine if a new character, like Ghostmaker, I think that's a good example. Imagine if Ghostmaker was introduced, but we never got like all those moments where we saw his interactions with Bruce in the past, like Batman the Knight, for example. Imagine if we never got that, and then Ghostmaker was introduced, and we're just supposed to be like, oh, he knew Batman in the past, I guess. That really sucks, you know, like, all the drama is wasted in that way. So that's my thoughts on Nubia, and again, this is kind of an unscripted, rambly video. I just want to get out there to get back in the algorithm, remind you guys I'm still alive, but more videos, more thought-provoking, and hopefully thought-through videos are in the works. So that's it for me, Z, and I'll see you next time. Bye.